Okay, the second example, to graphing quadratics by solving the quadratic by square roots, we're going to get the x-intercepts or the roots or the zeros or the solutions, and then we're going to go ahead and graph the parabola from that. All right, build our xy table, find the vertex. All right, why do I have it on white paper? I actually shot this video first, and then I went 50 divided by 5 is 25. Like, not 10, 25. So let's just cover up that boo-boo. All right, here we go. We want to isolate this binomial x minus 3 squared. So we're going to inverse operate twice. We're going to take this constant, positive 6. We're going to inverse operate that positive 6, which means it will be minus 6 minus 6. Then we're going to divide out this 5 coefficient. Remember, there is no foiling. So if you're taking the square or you decide to distribute this 5 in, that is so wrong because we have a square there. You would first have to square this binomial, right? You have the sum of two squares, you get a quadratic, then we're not doing that. Okay, so let's not even talk about it. Okay, we're gonna subtract the 6 and I get 5x minus 3 squared is equal to 50. Now I'm going to inverse operate this 5, so I will divide, and I get x minus 3 squared is equal to, and this is where I'm so wrong. Okay, what is 50 divided by 5? Apparently Miss Kenny doesn't know. It is 10. All right, now this is the entire point to this. We're solving the quadratic by square root, and so here's our square root. Because what is the inverse operation to squaring? That's a square. Square rooting. Okay, so I get x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus. And now we have a decimal, right? Because we already did integers and you're doing well with that. So square root of 10 is 3.2. Okay, so then we're going to take this over, plus or minus 3.2. Take your two cases, 6.2. negative 0.2. Okay, your XY table, where I don't even know where I'm gonna put that down below. Yeah, I'll put it down. Actually, yeah. Okay, I can put it over here. All right, so now if okay, so my vertex is gonna be in the middle. I have 6.2 and I have negative 0.2, and those are both 0, 0, right? Because remember, the reason why we were able to find these is we allowed y to be equal to 0 because we're finding our x-intercept. Okay, 6.2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6.2 is it's very, very close to the 6. And then negative 0.2 this is negative 1. So that's pretty much really, really close here, right? So here are my 2 points. Okay, halfway mark is where our axis of symmetry and vertex will be located on that dashed line, right? Okay, now with decimals, all right, because our two intercepts are on the opposite sides of the origin, we can just add it up. So 6.2 plus 0.2 gives me 6.4. That's the complete distance between these 2 points. So this is 6.2, add another 0.2, that's 6.4. All right, divide that in half, so divide by 2, and I get 3.2. So my axis of symmetry is going to be 3.2 units to the left of 6.2, and then 3.2 units to the right of negative 0.2. So I'm off at 3.2. Okay, so here's the 0.2, and then 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm at 3, so try here. 1, 2, 3.2. And so this is where my axis of symmetry is located. It is 3.2 units away from my 2 roots. Okay, so, oops, the top was rolling off. All right, so axis of symmetry is x is equal to 3. All right, so my vertex here, my x component is 3. I need to find my y component. Okay, so going back to what we did earlier, remember this, when you get your quadratic in square root form, it's typically not set equal to y, so we have to go ahead and locate that for us. So if you remember what we did in the first example, we're going to just repeat it for the second example. And so it is, I need to copy it. Okay, so this is a quadratic that's given to us. I'm going to try and put the directions where you can see it. Remember, when you locate the roots, the zeros, the x-intercepts, or solutions, you are allowing y to be equal to 0, and then you're solving for x. Okay, so I do not see a y. I see an x, and I see values, numbers, but no y. Okay, bring this, in this case it's the 50 because that's what we saw here. Here, oh, it's a 50 again. Bring the 50 to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that over, and I get 5x minus 3 squared is equal, whoa, don't do that, negative 50 is equal to 0. Now replace the 0 and bring it back to the y. And so I get 5x minus 3 squared minus 50 is equal to y. And so that is our quadratic. That is what you're going to use to find your y values to your xy table. Now, if you notice, it's in vertex form, just like this was in vertex form. Here, my a is 2, my h is -1, my k is -50. So my vertex here was -1, -50. Here, what's your vertex? 3, because you go opposite h, 3, what's your k value? -50. So what's my vertex? 3, -50. So here's my 3, -50. Okay, so 3, -50, we can go by 5s. Here's -10, -20, -30, -40, -50. So here is my vertex. I made a really big point. Okay, so my vertex is at 3, -50. All right, you need to find 2 other points. All right, you can go 1 unit over and go 4 and 2, or if you want to go 2 units over and 3, 4, 5, let's do that. Or you want to go 1? We'll always go 1. All right, we'll go 1. All right, 1 unit to the right is 4. 1 unit to the left is 2. So these values are equidistant, right? So they're going to be equal, the y output. Okay, so come back and we'll substitute the 2. So we're going to let x equal 2, and we're going to substitute it into this quadratic. So 5, 2 minus 3 squared minus 50 is equal to y. All right, take this parenthesis first. 5, -1 squared minus 50 equal y. Take this square first. 5, 1 minus 50 is equal to y. 5 minus 50 is equal to y, and I get -45 is my output value. So input is 2, output is -45, and I get -45, -45, and so 2, -45, 4, -45, and so here is my parabola. And there's your parabola. There you go. Okay, I'll give you 2 of them. All right, one of the examples will be, I believe, like this one. And then the second example, you will get decimals. It'll be a little bit more challenging. So some students have been submitting me their work, and they might have a little bit of a hiccup on their second graph, or they're like, I got an M or I got a W, something's off. Send it to me, because then afterwards I'm fixing it and I'm sending them a picture back. But definitely remember, this is golden here. You got to have your XY table. You need your 5 points. Your work that you're sending me is gorgeous. So let me get the assignment loaded. Okay, have a great day. Bye.